living in South and still have gunman music. How? How? What's this in Island fam? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another vlog. As you can see by the title, today's vlog is the well anticipated why I didn't get to go to Brandon's graduation video. So I'm going to tell you all about that. But before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you like videos like this, share it with your friends so that more people could see my channel. Okay? But anyway, let's get into the story time because it's a story time. Okay? Okay, so if you all are hearing background noises, I cannot control my outside atmosphere. I live close to a very busy road, so there's always noise, okay? And if you all hear any fan in the background, again, sorry, because it is very hot and just cannot record this video without a fan because I will melt, okay? Okay, to give you guys some context, we have to go back to about December of 2024, right? I would have gone to Brandon's school to sign him up for CXC, right? I took time off for work, had to go through the whole ordeal of dealing with my supervisor because the supervisor that I had at the point in time, we wasn't meshing too well enough. And I had to go through the whole ordeal of dealing with her, getting her to get it approved for me in order for me to get some time off from work to go to Brandon's school to sign up for CXC. I told his dad about it, and his dad was like, I can't take the day off, I can't take time off, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. So I had to do it myself. Right? So we go to Brandon's school, get there. Brandon was home at the point in time, so he was supposed to meet me in the school, right? He got there late, but when I got there, other parents were there signing their children up for CXC, and at another part of the hall, because this is happening in the hall, at another part of the hall, there's another teacher who is taking payment for graduation, right? So I go over to her and I ask her how much is for the graduation, and she would have told me the price for the graduation, which I said, okay, cool. I left the school because Brandon wasn't there yet. I left the school, went all the way to San Juan, went to the ATM, took out the money, and went back to school and paid for the graduation. By that time, Brandon would have gotten to the school, so I was able to go ahead with his teacher and sign him up for CXC, right? So I paid for his graduation on that day. Fast forward to about a month before his graduation, Brandon would have called me because he is by his dad, seeing that he's still going to school Port of Spain side, and so is his sister, right? He would have called me and he said, Mom, my teacher said that the money that you would have paid for graduation is only for the students, and parents have to pay $75 to come to the graduation. I was like, okay, cool, find out from your teacher when the deadline is. I will try to see if I can come into Port of Spain and pay it because I don't go to Port of Spain often. So I will try to see if I can come into Port of Spain and pay it. If not, find out from your teacher if I can pay when I get there. So I had a conversation with Brandon. He said, okay, Mom, I'll do that. I'll talk to my teacher. So Brandon would have WhatsApped his teacher to find out information. Mind you, around this time it is CXC. So he's not really seeing his teachers often. He's not in school every single day. So he's only going to school when he has his exams. So he's not going to class. He's not seeing all of his teachers. He's not interacting with most of the teachers that he needs to interact with to find out about this graduation and payment for graduation or any of these things, right? Okay, so I think maybe a week after I would have spoken to Brandon, I would have asked him, hey, did you talk to your dad about graduation? Is he going? Is he carrying your sister? Has he paid yet or whatever? And he said, I spoke to dad about it, knowing that he has to pay the extra $75 for himself as well and for Sakura. I would have spoke to him about it, and he said that he's going to pay at the door. Mind you, we do not have any information from the teacher just yet about paying by the door. We're still waiting on information from Brandon's teacher, which he hasn't gotten back yet. This is like a week after I spoke to him. This is like a month, maybe a month and a half before the graduation, right? So fast forward about a week or two after that week, and Brandon's teacher would have sent a message in the class group chat, but given the child I have, he does not really check group chats, especially when most everything for school was already done. He did not see the message in the group chat. Matter of fact, even afterwards, when I told him that his teacher would have sent a message in the group chat, he went back to the group chat and checked, and he did not see the message. It wasn't there saying anything about the graduation, saying anything about deadlines for payments or anything like that. So in my opinion, it's not Brandon's fault if there was no message to begin with, but his teacher said there was, right? Anyway, so I I would have called his dad and tried to speak to his dad, which he didn't want to hear. So I said, okay, look, it is almost time for Brandon's graduation. We're probably like 2 weeks to a week away at this point. I have no information about paying by the door or not paying by the door or whatever. Brandon's teacher hasn't gotten back to him. I called Brandon multiple times. I tried to call the school, and I was constantly just getting busy tone from the school. So I decided, hey, let me ask Brandon for his teacher's number, because if he has him on WhatsApp, he should see the number showing up in his WhatsApp group, right? So I call Brandon and I'm like, hey, can you give me your teacher's number? Because I'm not getting through to your school. I've been trying to call for weeks on end. I'm not getting through to your school. I haven't been in Port of Spain in over a month. And I need to speak to someone to clarify what is going on with payment for the graduation, or if we can pay by the door, because graduation is in his school in the hall. It is not like in a paid venue or anything like that, right? Brandon would have given me his teacher's number. So I called his teacher, did not get through on the day that I called his teacher, and his teacher sent me a message and said, I will call you back, I'm in a meeting or something like that. I don't think he called back until the day after I called him. So he answered and he was like, hi, Brandon's mommy. I saw he was trying to call me. So I spoke with him and I explained the situation of, Brandon messaging him and trying to find out about the payment for graduation. I would have explained to him that Brandon would have said that he was informed the payment that I would have made in his school was just for the students, and then parents or anyone else that needed to come or wanted to come would have had to pay an extra $75 per person. What the teacher told me was the money that I would have already paid was for Brandon and a parent. So Brandon and one parent, which I would have already paid this, my money, right? So he said any other parent would have had to pay $75. He believed that the deadline would have already gone because this is like a week or 2 weeks before Brandon's graduation. I think this was the week of his graduation. So his graduation was supposed to be like the Monday, and this is the week before. I'm talking to the teacher like the Monday before, right? So the teacher said the deadline would have already passed, but because Brandon would have already informed him of how far I live and how much of a challenge it would have been for me to get to Port of Spain to pay that $75, he is trying to lace with the dean to see if I can pay when I get there. Mind you, I would have already paid, as I said before. I paid for Brandon and me, not knowing that I was paying for Brandon and me. I thought the money was just for the child, right? So when I spoke to the teacher, I decided, let me call Brandon's dad and let him know what's going on, and that the teacher is trying to liaise with the dean to try to see if anyone else that is coming can pay by the door. So before I tell you all about the phone call with Brandon's dad, I need to give you all a little bit of context. So Brandon's dad and I were married. So this is my ex-husband. I filed for divorce and moved out of his house in June of 2014. So it has been 10 years now since 12 years now since we've not been together. We've not lived together. We've not been in a relationship or anything. But our relationship since then, even before then, has not been the greatest relationship. We have not been the greatest of communicators with each other. I'm not going to say who fault is that. I'm just saying we have not been the best with communicating with each other. And because of that, we're always having issues and problems and rifts. And then since I moved to South, it has been, in my opinion, even worse, because we have not been agreeing on anything when it comes to education-wise with Sakura. We have not been agreeing on so many different things to the point that we don't even communicate with each other. I communicate with my kids. He communicates with them in whatever way he communicates with them, but I don't really communicate with him. He doesn't really communicate with me. He has been actively trying to take my kids away from me permanently, in terms of me never even getting to see them at all. He's been actively trying to do that. He's been actively preventing me from like seeing them when I want to see them, or them coming over and spending time with me. He's been actively preventing me from doing that, right? So this is the relationship that I have with this man, my ex-husband. So now to the phone call. So I decided, you know what? He needs to know about this, because I know he didn't pay for himself. He's thinking that the fee that I paid was already for Brandon and not for any of the parents, not for Sakura, not for anyone else. So he has to pay as well, and he has to pay by the door. So I tried to call him to explain to him the conversation I would have had with Brandon's teacher about the deadline passing and the teacher trying to liaise with the dean to try to see if Brandon's parents or parent and whoever else can pay by the door because the deadline would have passed and everything. I did not inform the teacher that I would have already paid for Brandon. Well, I did tell him, I said I already paid the $200 for a parent and a child, but Brandon is living with his dad, so I'm the one that's going to have to pay. That's what I told the teacher because I just wanted to give his dad an opportunity to still come to graduation. So let's just say I made the teacher think that I was the one that needed to pay still so that he can try to get through with the dean so that we can pay for both parents to go to the graduation, right? So I called Brandon's dad and I tried to talk to him, and I'm trying to explain to him the conversation that I had with Brandon's teacher. And his response to me was, "Why are you calling me?" Like, he was so upset. He didn't even want to hear me on the phone. Like, why are you speaking to me? Why are you even trying to call my phone? Whatever. Even though I'm trying to talk to him about his child and graduation and attending the graduation, he could have cared less. So I didn't respond to him because I have moved so past arguing and fighting and whatever. So what I did, I hung up the phone. You're not going to yell at me in my ears on my phone that I use my money to call you for. So I hung up the phone. I hung up the phone and then I proceeded to send a text message. Did I send a text message? No, I did not send a text message. He sent a message to me through WhatsApp telling me that either way, he don't have to pay because he already paid for Brandon's graduation. But I was the one that went. I have the receipt. I have the receipt. I have the paper that I used to sign Brandon up for CXC. Everything. The name on the receipt is mine. I'm the one that paid for it, right? So I was confused. I'm like, you didn't pay for this. What are you talking about? So I responded to him and I was like, no, I was the one that paid for it when I went the day that you said you couldn't go to his school so that I can sign him up for CXC. That's the day that they were taking payments, and I went to the bank and I paid it. He then sent me the longest message known to man, complaining, saying that in the entire time that Brandon has gone to school since preschool to now, I've never spent any money on Brandon. I've never done anything for Brandon or for Sakura, and he has always made sure that they have everything that they need. Mind you, I am not denying that this man spends his money on his kids, but it is not to the point where I don't spend money on them. It's not to the point that he's the only one doing anything and I'm not doing anything. So it was a bit hurtful to me to hear him, or at least read him saying this, that I've never done anything for them, I've never spent money on them, and he's the only one that makes sure that he is doing that. So I was visibly upset, physically upset, mentally upset, just upset, right? I'm really sorry for the dogs in the background as well. I cannot stop them from barking. I'm sorry. But I was really upset. So I called my best friend and I explained the situation to him. So my best friend asked me, can't you go to the graduation early? Because in the message, the dad also made sure he said that he was going to Brandon's graduation because he was the one that paid for it. So I spoke to my best friend about it and he was like, can't you go to the graduation early? And I was like, I can. But I'm the type of parent, I don't want to create an embarrassing situation for my son or any of my children. I do not want my children to have to choose between their both parents. And I just don't like drama, right? I'm not a drama queen. I might be in certain circumstances, but when it comes to my children, I'm not gonna create embarrassing situations for them. So what I told my best friend, I was like, hey, if I go early, Brandon is with him. So he's going to come to the graduation with Brandon. It is then most likely, because I know how he is, he's very ignorant, he's argumentative, he's all the things, right? So I know that he is going to create some sort of scene, some sort of backlash to argue who should be at the graduation and who shouldn't. And I did not think that that was right. So yeah, as I said, I didn't want my son to be embarrassed, like his parents arguing about who could be in his graduation, who could stay and who couldn't stay, or him having to choose, okay, I want dad there versus mom, or I want mom there versus dad. I didn't want that for my child, and I definitely didn't want to create any sort of embarrassment for my child on his graduation day. So in that moment, I just decided, you know what? It is better to not cause drama and not go to the graduation. I cried. Obviously, I cried because I put in time and effort into my child for all of the years that he went to school. I'm the sole parent that was going to teachers' meeting, parent teacher conferences, meetings in school, all the things. Like in the entire time that his dad has, or at least in the entire time that Brandon has been going to school, his dad has never even once gone to like a parent teacher conference, right? So I'm like, here I am putting in all this work. I am so proud of my child because he has worked so hard to get to where he is. He struggled, he went through bullying and all these things, and he is graduating Form 5, and I cannot be there. So, yes, I did cry because it was really, really hurtful to know that I can't go. But that's the decision I made simply because I did not want to embarrass my child on his graduation day. I didn't want to have him to choose between his parents. I didn't want to create a scene in his school and his friends looking and seeing that, his parents don't get along and they're arguing and whatever. So it was my decision to say, hey, I'm not going to go to his school for the graduation. I'm not going to cause a problem with his dad or with the school or with the security or with him or anything. I just didn't want to bring that on Brandon. So I called him and I said, hey, your teacher said the deadline would have passed. I didn't even say anything about like his dad being mean or whatever. I just told him, I said, hey, your teacher said that the deadline would have passed and they can't cater for anyone else, because that is what the teacher did say eventually when he called me back. The dean spoke to the teacher and the dean said that the deadline for the payment of the graduation would have passed and they're not allowing anyone else to come based on, I guess, the availability and the size of the hall and all these different things. So I told Brandon, I was like, hey, I can't come because I can't pay by the door. So instead of me coming to your graduation, I will come take you after graduation, and I will take you and your sister out. We can do whatever you want to do. So that is how the day ended with us going to the mall. Mind you, even with me backing down and letting his dad have that day to carry Brandon to graduation and see him walk across the stage and collect his certificate and all of these things, even with that, tell me why. Tell me why on graduation day, his graduation finished like 12 o'clock in the day, right? And all they had to do was go home and meet his sister. He take a shower and change his clothes. Tell me why they never got home until after 2. Mind you, his dad didn't carry him out. He didn't carry him for lunch. He didn't do anything with him. He got there late. And even when I was trying to call his dad to find out like where they were, because I spent the night over at my friend's house just to be able to take my kids out, right? Just to be able to make sure that I have time to go get my kids, spend time with them, and get back home. And I'm there after 2 in the evening, still sitting waiting for Brandon to get home from graduation. So I'm calling Sakura on her tablet. Hey, your brother reached home yet? And she's like, no, it's just me. I don't know where he is, whatever. Brandon left his tablet at home because obviously he's going to graduation. His phone is broken. I can't call him directly on his phone. So the only person I could call is his dad. When I try to call his dad's phone, I'm blocked. So I can't even call his dad to find out what's going on. Nothing, right? So I had to call Brandon's godfather, to call Brandon's dad, to find out what's going on, to get on to Brandon for him to make his way home, for me to get him and his sister to go out with them. Mind you, I called the school. The school said that the graduation was finished since 12 o'clock. It is now after 1 minute. So at this point when I called the school, how graduation finished since 12 o'clock? The school is not that far away from where they live in. It's like a 10-minute drive from where they live in, and you still not home yet. Tell me why. I am living south. It takes me 2 hours to get home, right? And I never got Brandon and Sakura until after 3 in the evening. Tell me why. This is my day. Tell me why I didn't get them till after 3 in the evening, because his dad decided to just lollygag and stay long and take forever to give me my kids. And then when I told him, hey, school closed, so I'm going to take them for the week, he then throws a tantrum, tells me that school isn't closed. He has appointments with the kids and I just can't get them. Make a whole big scene, right? I was like, cool. So he said school isn't closed. Sakura has to go in school for her report and all of these things. So I said, okay, school is closed. School isn't closed yet. Sakura still has a report to pick up. You have appointments with the kids. Cool, I will take them another time. He then says, no, you can't have them. And if you want to take them, I'll just take you to court and take them away from you. Get full custody of them and you can't have them. Because I want to spend time with my kids. Why? Why? So I didn't get them that week. And turns out, at the end of it all, Sakura still didn't go to school and get her report. Up to now, she doesn't have her report from the last term of school and she's going into standard 5. So, yeah. But this is what I'm dealing with. This is the energy that I'm dealing with when it comes to my kids. So this is why I was not able to go to Brandon's graduation. This is why I had to sit in my best friend's house for hours until my son's graduation was over and then take him out after that. Guys, I know I don't talk about my personal life, not really, on here, and I don't share things that are going on in my personal life, but that's my choice to do. What I post on YouTube, what I post on Instagram or TikTok or anywhere else is completely up to me, and I choose to keep certain things private for my own sanity and safety, and also for my kids' own sanity and safety. But I did share this because I felt like I needed to. I felt like I wanted to share this. So this is why I'm sharing what happened to me and why I wasn't able to go to Brandon's graduation. But anyway, this is the end of the video. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I hope that you tune in for my next video. Because keep in mind, we are almost at the end of July. And the 30th of July is what? Wedding Wednesday. So I will be posting wedding content come 30th of July. Okay? So thanks guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now. Also, hit the like button. Smash it, smash it, smash it. And also, share my video with your friends. Share it with anybody. Just share it, right? Just share it on your social media. Just share it so that we can bring more people to the farm, right? To the island, to the farm. So thanks again guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.